Well, here we are again today, folks. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word, and happy is the man, the Bible said, who receives correction. I'm a teacher, a Sunday school teacher. I'm also a Bible teacher, and I believe that after 40 years I've been saved, but I've been in the Bible for 40 years, and the Lord has showed me I should be able, as a grown Christian, and if you are a Christian, you know it, and everybody else should know it too. But are you in the Word? If you're not in the Word, you need to get in the Word. The only way you're going to grow is by getting in the Word and staying in the Word. And another thing I had to say this morning is, can you open up your book and preach a message from the very first verse your eyes strike? Do you know enough before that verse and after that verse? Do you know when you read it who it's talking about, when it was talking, where it was talking, and what it's saying? Has the Holy Spirit gave you the revelation of the Bible? The Bible's an understood book by those who are saved. If you've asked Jesus to forgive you of your sin, come in your heart and save your soul, you can understand the Bible. You more than likely can't open it up and explain any verse. But you ought to be able to explain Romans 10, 9, 10, and 13. It said, if thou believe in thine heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, and confess with thy mouth unto salvation, thou shalt be saved. And that's where it starts. And once it starts there, I said under a man, you need to do this yourself. If you're not under a man right now who is teaching you that you need a root, you need a root bigger than the tree. We just had a little puff of a wind come through our town this week. Puff, little bitty puff. You know what it did? It flipped some of the biggest trees in town over. The biggest trees in this town went poof. You know what happened? We found out the roots on them on top of the ground. The ground is so hard in this town. It's like the hearts of the people. It's so hard that the tree couldn't get a hold. 100-year-old tree setting on 12 inches of topsoil, and the ground underneath was so hard that it couldn't get enough root to stay there. I'm saying this, 12 inches. There's a tree right down the street from me right here. You can take a tape measure down there and measure it right now. It's less than 12 inches of good soil that tree was sitting on. Been sitting on for 100 years. But I'm going to tell you, that wasn't just a regular wind that came through here. That was the wind of the Holy Spirit. That was the wind that said, Brother Peter, what are you doing? Are you getting out there in your town? Do people in your town know about me because you told them? They have a right to know. They have a right to either accept or reject me. Are you telling them with love? Are you getting out there? And I'm receiving that correction from the Lord. See, I know the Bible. And I know that He said that hell is reserved for judgment. Look it up. Get your Strong's Concordance and look up hell. The 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 times it's talked about in the Bible. It's reserved for judgment. God used it to drive a group of people out from in front of the Israelite children one time. God used it to finally get the king in Egypt to turn the children loose. God used hail and fire in different places at different times, and He's going to do it again. He's going to do it again. He's going to do it in the last day in Revelation. He's going to take and rain great hailstones from heaven and fire. You say, how's it going to be fire, Brother Peter, and hail? Well, you take a hailstone that weighs, let's say 340 pounds, 350 pounds up there, and you turn it loose as it comes through the sky. It's going to get friction, and that friction causes fire. It don't matter whether that's a ball of water or frozen or not. It's going to cause fire on the outside of it. And by the time it gets to the ground, it may be like those that fell in Egypt. If you want to study that a little bit, you'll find that they say that some of those blocks probably weighed 150 pounds. To knock rock walls down They had to be heavy. They weren't light. Some of those things weighed 150 pounds. And you say, well, how come it didn't kill all the children of Israel? Because it didn't rain on the children of Israel. It was a thing from God to the children of Egypt. The children of Israel were camped on the outside of the city. Remember that? Actually, the whole truth of the matter is, you want to know the truth, God gave the children of Israel a fertile plain. Where do you think they got the straw to make the bricks? They got it from that fertile plain where they lived. And that fertile plain God put them on. It was kind of ironic to me when I saw when the children of Israel first went in captivity in Egypt, that they were put in such a nice place. They were put in a better place than the Egyptians lived in. They grew the gardens. They had the place to grow the food. They had the place you be. If you want to know the truth, they could live comfortably as long as they were obedient to their masters, but they had everything else in their hand. They had the leeks and the garlics, and they had the food that they liked. Because of that, they did. Now, I'm going to go to Job this morning. Let's go to Job and chapter 5, and we're going to read verse 17 through 26 very quickly because our time has come and gone. And 17 through 26. Behold, happy is the man who, when God correcteth, therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. I'm not going to get this in. We're going to do two of these. This excerpt and the next one will be on Isaiah chapter 5, verse 17 on. Now, happy is the man who receives correction. If you'll receive correction, and listen, I'm 68. I get up every day with a thought on my mind, and that's remain teachable, Peter. I didn't shave today yet, but when I look in the mirror, I'm going to say to myself, remain teachable, Brother Peter. Remain teachable, Brother Peter. Remain teachable, Brother Peter. I met a young man this week who was he's new in a business. I'm pretty up on that business. I know it pretty well. And he was telling me how he was going to go about a certain thing. I just kept my mouth shut because I saw he was not a man. His father was trying to tell him something, and he was not a man that was going to receive correction. He already knew it. And I said to myself, it's a shame, son, that you already know so much, because if you'd listen to your daddy or one of us old men, we could sure make you have an easy day today. The way you're headed, you're going to nearly kill yourself to work 8 hours to do something you could do in a couple and be good. But listen, we live in a world today, people don't like to be corrected. They don't like correction, especially from God. We're talking more plain talk in our Bible this morning, but sometimes plain talk is necessary. We need correction. Now in Job 7, verse 17, it says, for he maketh sure and bindeth up, he woundeth, and his hands make whole. When Jesus wounds you, or God wounds you, he wounds you for a reason. He corrects you for a reason. And then he binds you up with the word. The very word that corrected you is the very word that binds you up and gives you a solace for the correction that you had to receive. So I'm going to read 19, and our time is come and gone. And in 19, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, even in 7, there shall no evil touch thee. Paul the Apostle said over in the New Testament that a righteous man will fall 7 times and get back up. A righteous man, that's a man who's after God's own heart, who's trying to follow the Lord, who is getting sin out of his life. And well, this is Brother Peter, tidbits from the Word. The next excerpt is going to be on this same thing, on Isaiah chapter